Well, morning, fellow zombies. Are we alive yet? Are we awake yet? Yeah, I haven't changed the shirt yet. I'm comfortable with it. Give me another month, I'll have it destroyed. 12:38 in the morning. Actually, it's 12:28 in the morning, January 2nd, 2024. 2025 actually. Oh, I gotta get used to that. I did say it was Thursday, right? Okay. And the Weaver Agency, Roseman, California. What's going on, guys? So, are we having fun with the fear and paranoia? I'm wondering how much more we've got coming up before January 6th certification comes up. And I'm also wondering how much more we've got until January 20th regarding any more surprises concerning about long-term arrests or people under suspicion getting busted or found out to be that they are harboring explosives. I came across a report on YouTube this morning. I woke up around 11 of midnight. Personal decisions I still have to make concerning about my dog and me. And then the distractions concerning about what zeros and ones and artificial intelligence would like to have me think about these days. Here's a slew of news stories just about the same within a 24-hour, 48-hour period max. About a gentleman up in Virginia has I think a 50-acre spread. Well, he was under investigation of the FBI, and they basically busted his ass and threw him in through processing, and then out on bonded out Monday, all in December. He was accused of having a ton of explosives and an illegal firearm made, homemade at home, and there were certain rules and regulations about a certain shotgun that are illegal to have, and anything beyond the parameters, you're in trouble. Plus the fact when they raided his home, they found some explosives that you don't touch, and it's also temperature uh, sensitive. They found some bomb making material. Kind of reminded me of something that they talked about on the deep dark web and also in circles about certain manifestos that were one time legal to put onto in the libraries but then taken out. And that manifesto still gets around. It's about how to make explosives and how to do other crap. You can't find it, but it's out there somewhere in the dark web. I haven't found it. I'm not about to look for the damn shit in the first place, but I know I've heard about it so many damn times throughout the years. Not by word of mouth, but what people kept saying on the news all the time. Yeah, so it just kind of drives me crazy over that one. And I kept thinking of all these stories and all these things happening. Was this actually a kludge? It's a terminology I came across. The word kludge, K-L-U-G-E, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it is. Hold on, let's pull this thing up. I know it's a haphazard terminology. Haphazard or makeshift solution to a problem, and especially to a computer or programming. Things don't make sense. How can this be making sense if it looks like it's ad hoc, not part of the program? There's a lot more to that term. But for me, if I'm going to keep it where I know in a context I can actually relate to, you know me and fictional work. Some things I can actually catch, and the other things, well, maybe not so much, but try this one. Star Trek Next Generation, I think about second season or third season. Uh, Concerning, actually, season 4, episode 8. It was called Future Imperfect. Now, those Trekkies out there would understand that particular thing there. When you go to Star Trek conventions, or any other science fiction convention out there, and you're a bit of a collector of pins, there are certain pins out there that seem to be so cool looking that they are out of sync. But they are part of a lexicon. But they seem to be out of sync. But they're still part of the lexicon. It's just kind of tumbles that way. So there's one particular pin. The Star Trek lexicon pin is the Delta Shield. Recreated over and over and over again, reimagined and re-engineered over and over and over again since the original series of Star Trek. And it's been put into different things, including in this particular episode, which is a collector's item still. Where if you are in this particular kid's imagination, and it was an alien kid who captured William Riker because he needed someone to go be with him. A lonely kid's got to do something to keep himself occupied, so this alien kid's in a computer simulation all the time, trying to keep him happy. So having an explorer just came into kid's life, not even realizing it. Well, the computer took full advantage of it and tried to create scenarios to keep the commander, William Riker, on the planet. And one of the scenarios was dealing with Riker going through certain events. And people have noticed that the lexicons, the ID badges, actually had, not the ID badges, but the comm badges that they would have. So this one would have the lexicon on it, but then it would have rank bars in it. Future imperfect, in a future time, would that be considered part of the lexicon or not? Maybe. But everybody liked that badge. So did I. I got one. Got it buried with my pin somewhere. And it's one of those things I don't like to get rid of. If I could find another one, I would. Because I like that pin so much. But it's a kludge. Not exactly like computer programming, but it is part of a kludge. Where certain events don't sync, don't jive, don't make sense. It's like dealing with an AI program that's not quite up on human euphemism or thinking. And certain events happen that are not making sense. So when I'm hearing these stories coming out left and right, my head's not comprehending. My head's not comprehending. Is this actually legitimate? Is this actually artificial intelligence in my head? Or is this actually people that we're now talking about left and right because of the year coming up or the year that we're already in? And now these things are coming up that we have to keep pumping out the fear and toxicity of the fear and phobia right now. Simply because we got the new administration coming in and people are now losing their freaking minds. I don't have an answer. My head cannot wrap around what's going on with the fear and paranoia that's been already been pumping out so many damn decades at this point of how to look at things left and right. And this century has been turning out to be that way. Last century, when I was getting through it, I wasn't quite made aware of how much fear and paranoia there was going on. Tried to ignore everything on the damn thing. But now, we had let's see, back in the late 90s. No, wait a second. We had it. I was just wasn't paying attention to it. How so? Let's see. Ruby Ridge, one thing. Waco, Texas, another thing. We had Jim Jones in my lifetime. Didn't even figure about that damn thing. Damn. Why didn't I figure about that one? Because I wasn't paying attention to it much as a kid growing up in those times. I didn't realize I was living in a madcap world of insanity happening at that point. Of course, earthquakes were not man-made, nature-made, and I resented the living crap out of it. Even if I hadn't studied a bit of the topic, trying to keep myself apprised, and maybe the knowledge would help me out through the fear. Didn't, but I still had to live through the fear anyway. But man-made crap. Ooh. Keep going back through history. We did this to ourselves ever since we were caveman. If we looked at the caveman drawings, looked at the Neanderthals, what they were going through, survival, to them was just normal. Hell, if they had explosives back then, would have been a lot different. Probably not. But we've had our explosive, turbulent times. We hadn't lived in the one perfect, peaceful time in our lifetime as human beings. No, we just had to live in chaos and confusion all the damn time. We'd have a guru or two popping up here and there trying to make sense out of everything and trying to tell us that if we happen to go into a certain particular peaceful journey here, we might be able to feel it, might be able to be part of it. And then something happens to blow the thing over the hill and out and basket. By an event or by a series of events to where we need to get into a large-scale tragedy. And then after that, are we settled down a bit, maimed, mutilated, blighted? History. What do you think people would be talking about that? No, we don't talk about it. It's regular, normal, every day. We have to keep ignoring it. Much like you have to go through an entire day, even though you've probably seen explosives left and right happening left and right. Someone that's going to say, it's just a regular day, shake it off. No wonder we are living in a land of PTSD that we're discovering these days more and more that it's becoming commonplace with us. We thrive, apparently, on chaos, confusion, insanity, and bloodshed. We need more of the news. We can watch it from a distance, but in person, we can't take it. I mean, we can hear about it and say, oh, it's tragedy, and then go on with our day. But something personal happens in our lifetime, you bet we're going to be feeling something about it. You bet we're going to be saying something about it. You bet we're going to be reacting to it. We'll blow it off, and then nothing else happens, and then we get back to normal again. Welcome to the human race. That's the thing. That's what's happening right now. There hasn't been one time in our lifetime that we actually had peace. When we were actually able to get along with people to a point of not trying to conquer anybody, not taking over people's lives, not doing anything to harm anybody in any way, shape, or form. Nothing. We talked about it. That's all we could do is just talk. But making it happen, forget it. That's like me living in an apartment without the damn cockroaches now. I live in a place of peace, but then again, it wasn't a place of peace until the cockroaches moved in, and then it's invasion, and it's like terrific. I got to deal with this schmucks all the damn time. I deal with ideas and ideologies. I'm dealing with uh, behaviors. I'm dealing with attitudes. I'm seeing them on the screens. I'm seeing them in the news. I'm seeing and hearing it left and right. I can lay back and listen to the neighbors either yelling or screaming at each other one minute, and the next minute they're laughing their heads off. Welcome to humanity. Apartment complex is a microcosm of them. It's an environmental area. We have our own conflicts within our own walls, and yet we bring them to each other's faces on some occasions. Either we try to air it out, or we try to argue about it, yell about it, scream about it, and then calm it down, and then separate, and then we talk, we we put these things on celluloid, we put them on film, we put it on videos and zeros and ones. We see the actions of them. We see ourselves in the mirror. I'm not excusing it. I'm observing it. I'm seeing it. And one of these here days, I'm going to be an observer slash participant, but then observer will be gone because I'll be a participant. Either you're part of it or you're not. If you're outside, you're watching it. But if you're inclusive, you're a participant in it. Which means you're going to be part of the process one way or another. And there's been a lot of things that have been a part of a process. So now we've got scenarios popping up where we're finding explosives and people under observation left and right. And now we're seeing arrests, and now we're seeing these things big happening here. If that wasn't bad enough, New Year's hit. We had stabbings, we had shootings, we had explosives. We had a car ramming through people left and right. Running through people left and right. And that's supposed to be okay? They say, no, how horrible, how shocking, how is this supposed to happen? Why is this supposed to happen? We need investigations. We want. No. We want to go things back the way they were. We didn't want to see it, know that people are hurt. Now what do we do about it? Oh my God, what tragedy. And we're still dealing with it. I sound like a heartless bastard? Well, when you're an observer, you got to be a heartless bastard sometimes. Until you're part of the process, and then either you're going to be screaming and yelling about the damn thing, or you're going to say, oh, how fascinating about it. Or else you're going to be motivated enough to say, I gotta take action, I gotta take revenge, I gotta go this reaction here. Right? Until when? The reason why people in the academia kept pushing critical thinking skills is because in schools we don't have that ideology, that skill set necessary to put things into a perspective, to analyze it, figure it out, make reason out of it, out of our own logic. We'd have to reason out why these things had happened. We'll look at books, we look at video materials, we'll look at things, and then we judge. We tear it apart. We analyze it. We have to be scientists about it. We're looking for a basis. We're putting up a thesis. Yeah. Starts with an H. Hypothesis. An idea. And then we test it out, and if it works, we continue on with it until we know what's going to be a fact or not. Unless it's going to be solidified. But, on a constant basis, we do journals about this one. We even make we make creations out of it. We talk about it, laugh about it, joke about it, put it in story forms, put it into a format that we can actually understand and communicate it to people effectively on this one. We're trying to tell people what's going on. And journalists we're supposed to be answering 5 questions. Who, what, where, when, why. Well, see. There's supposed to be an how in there somewhere. And we're supposed to tell the audience what's going on. We're supposed to dissect it, put it into a format that they can understand. But some people like to put the personal slant. Other people want more personal slant. Add the fear level. Add the panic. That's no longer objective, scientific, critical thinking. No, now it's creative writing. When I see reports, either in, basically in social media or even in corporate media, we're calling it these days, or even independent medias, my head has to think critically on these things. Relevancy. What the hell's going on? How is this relevant to me in one way or another? If I can't see the patterns, then I'm thinking it's not happening to me. I'm not a participant, so I'm an observer. So now I got to tear this damn thing apart. But where's the relevancy in this crap in the first place? I look back at history that I have been taught. I use the skills necessary that I've learned in my lifetime to analyze and research, to tear things apart, go back to the beginning of it, if there is any, and see why is it relevant now. I can't tell you why in Virginia this guy is being picked on a great deal in the media. They picked up on this guy having a lot of explosives and a homemade gun. Okay, there's a federal charge against a homemade gun. And possibly the explosives that are potentially dangerous to people. Okay. Fear factor on that one, but also safety factor. Okay. Safety equals fear. Am I defending the guy? Nope. No. Because he and his lawyer are going to be arguing about the Second Amendment defense. He's entitled. People who want explosives and people who want guns think they're entitled to it because of the Second Amendment. Speaking of which, shall we? Okay, let's. Okay, constitutions.com. Shall we go over some of them? We got the first 10 called the Bill of Rights. We got 27 amendments in our country's history. The first 10 of them. Yeah, this one's going to drive me crazy. I'm going to do the Wikipedia on this one. Everybody goes to Wikipedia. So let me go off the deep end on this one. First Amendment deals with Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Makes sense for a lot of people, right? Are we doing a good job on that one? But here comes the golden boy who's got the child, who's the problem child these days. Yeah. Second Amendment is about regulation, about militia, right? What it says is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This had been going through a hell of a lot of revisions in federal courts, a hell of a lot of lawsuits on this one. The golden child that keeps driving people crazy in our country. We needed it a long time ago when we actually had colonialism and we actually had foreign troops in the colonies being bedded, being fed, controlled, told that you can't gather, and told you can't have any weaponry. You're not allowed to keep weaponry. It was basically for that time. We didn't think back then that we were going to be having consequences. We were just thinking about it in those terms and terminologies. It's up to you as Supreme Court and the federal court, lower courts to make the decisions whether or not how applicable the Second Amendment is going to be in a lot of our circumstances we're running into, including the guy with the Virginia explosives and homemade quote-unquote shotgun. Didn't look like a shotgun, but that's what they called it. So yeah, I got an issue always with the Second Amendment at that point. Because it's always so dicey. It's not just that, it's the stories coming after that or relating to it that I'm always having an issue with it. We got nut jobs coming out left and right. We got to focus attention constantly. Where's critical thinking? No, there's no critical thinking in my head. That's one. We're pointed, we're directed, we're supposed to react. Yes, explosives happen. Car running through a place, terrifying. Firearms used, and then more terrifying. We're supposed to get over it, move with it. Multiple stabbings, that's one thing. Having stores getting robbed left and right, that's another thing right there. We get it. We get the rashes of news stories on that one. But they're not explosive enough. No, we need more to keep the attention span going. So, are we making stuff up, or we're going to be showing something else that doesn't make sense? First of the year pops up, and none of it makes sense. At one particular town, where a guy travels from state to state to go to a casino, an electric vehicle to blow things up. Blows himself up in the process. I mean, he parks the vehicle right there and decides, okay, I'm going to kill myself. So he kills himself, but he doesn't do the damage. Where's the damage? The only damage was the vehicle blew up. Right in front of a covered awning, and there's no damage. Or no susceptible damage. Guy blew himself up for nothing. There was another guy out in Bourbon. Runs people over, gets into a gunfight. Gets himself killed in the process. Now they're tearing apart his lifestyle, his life, and his story's coming out that he's got a tragedy here. He was military. He was U.S. born military. Okay. He was U.S. born. He got into the military. He did do a tour of duty somewhere in there. Got out. Tried to do business. Tried to have a family. Family wasn't working out. About to get. He's about to get everybody else who got divorced, and what a country folk singer would talk about. Jerry Reed would be talking about this in one of his songs. She got the gold mine, the guy got the shaft. It was made a comedy back in the 70s, but it was still a serious topic. It was still a serious situation. It may even sound like it's comedy, it's a ha 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 if you listen to the song on that one. But it was reality check. It still is reality check. So the guy's got the shaft. And now, the guy's dead. We discovered that the guy had been converted into ISIS. They found an ISIS flag, and therefore, he's labeled a terrorist. In my head, it's not making any sense. U.S. born citizen, you did your tour. Now you get to be turned ISIS down the road. Something had to been gnawing at this guy long before it turned him into that kind of a nut job. Didn't make sense. Still doesn't. And he would go down Bourbon Street. Again, for me, I can't make heads or tails out of the damn thing. It's like now we're trying to find out more stories about horror. And was this guy in cahoots one way or another, indirectly, however unlikely, with the mad bomber in the Vegas Strip in front of the Trump Hotel? Where's the connection? An app. An app that was used for renting out the vehicles. The FBI is looking under that thing and probably under a few other leads. Trying to find small threads to make sense of it all. Is everything else interconnected now? Was the guy out in Virginia connected to any of it? The more this year is going to be revealing to us, the more sane we thought 2024 was, and every other year after that. Because with all the fear, hype, and phobias going on, pushed down our throats left and right, it's no wonder we haven't gone insane yet. But then again, we human beings are like that. We live through a lot of insane things that we already created for ourselves, not to mention nature. So this is my own way of trying to make things sense in my head, of doing this word salad, this barfing up things on people left and right. Does any of this make sense to people? I got pastors and priests out there. I got the clergy, and at odds with each other. What we're supposed to think, what we're supposed to feel, what we're supposed to be. And we're supposed to be following our own good senses. Well, apparently our own good senses tells us one thing or another. Either we're part or we're apart and we are made the enemy. We are part of the us versus them. I had tried saying so many damn times, I am not a frickin' guru. I'm not an expert. I'm trying to make sense of all this damn stuff. It looks like a damn kludge to me. How we as humanity, as we as a species, over how many millenniums did we evolve into this creature that we think it's natural to kill everybody? We did it for natural reasons a long time ago. Survival. Only thing we know how to do is survive. And if our tribe had to kill the other tribe, so be it, because we wanted to get that, whatever that was, for our tribe's survival. And I'm trying to make sense of all the damn shit. I don't make sense out of humanity. Humanity can't make sense out of its own damn self, can't fix itself. I don't know what the hell we're going to be doing then. I got no clue. Our psychologists and therapy professionals out there will try to make analysis. All they're making is egg salad out of the damn thing. Isn't it just right? We all eat the damn crap. One way or another, in whatever form we got. Alright. That being said, I think I threw up enough on you guys. Hey, look, I got the food stained shirt for it too. Gross. No, I didn't throw up on the damn thing. It's a food magnet. That's all it is. Magnet for what, I wonder? Shall we throw that one out and confuse the crap out of you while I end this?